I'm sending 500,000 cold emails to generate 1,000 leads in the next 30 days. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we're doing it and how you can do it too. So this is just an inside look into a large scale cold email campaign. And before we dive into this, who am I and why the hell am I doing all of this? So my name is Atishay Jain. I'm the founder at Hyperke. We run an outbound lead gen agency. And these days we send between 1 to 2 million emails every month across all of our clients, which typically gets us between 1 to 2,000 leads every month. And last year, based on our stats, Smartlead chose us as one among their top 1% agencies on their platform out of 87,000 cold email agencies using the platform. So why are we doing this? Number one is we're running this campaign to SEO agencies, which is our primary ICP, and we know exactly how to get results for them. So if you go to our website and you go to the testimonials section, you'll see around 25, 26 video testimonials, all of them from SEO agency owners. So the fact of the matter is our system works really, really well for this industry, and it only makes sense to be reaching out to everybody within that industry, offer to help them if they need our help. So that's the idea. Now, before we run a campaign like this and before you try and replicate this, it is very important to look at why I expect this to work and what are the 3 criteria that you should be looking at to evaluate whether a high volume cold email approach even makes sense for you. Number one is your total addressable market should be large enough for something like this to work. In our case, we built the list already. We have around 200,000 agencies in the US, Canada, and UK that we are reaching out to. And I'm going to get into exactly how we've segmented this list later on in the video. But our target audience is 220,000 agencies in total. We're going to send between 2 to 3 emails to each agency, resulting in a total of 500,000 emails sent in the next 30 days. So that's criteria number one. The second thing is you need to have proven product market fit, which means you need to be selling something that people already want. There needs to be demand for whatever it is that you're supplying, and there needs to be proof of those agencies buying that from you. Now, in our case, like I said, we've already worked with agencies. We know exactly what they want. We know they want the service that we're selling to them, and we have demonstrable proof of success. This is the third criteria. So whatever offer you're selling, you need to have some kind of social proof. Obviously, the stronger your social proof is, the better. You need to have social proof that will convince cold prospects that working with your offer makes sense for them. So like I showed you before, we have over 25 video interviews, over 50 documented case studies with this exact ICP. So there is absolutely no doubt that we can get results for the right kind of agencies. Now, personally, I am convinced that if you're a digital marketing agency targeting local businesses, you will get results using this system. And I know lots of lead gen agencies stay away from working with SEO agencies, which is why, we're doing it. Many of our clients come to us having been burned by lead gen agencies in the past, which is why we've created a solution exclusively for them. And honestly, if I know that I can help so many marketing agencies and save them from wasting money on lead gen companies that don't deliver, why would I not do it? So all of that small rant aside, let's dive into the strategy and how we're planning this campaign. So here's the high level strategy. We're going to be sending 500,000 emails to 200,000 prospects. Like I said before, 2 to 3 emails to each prospect, and we're contacting them across 3 channels. So we're top of the funnel is cold email. Then anyone that replies with interest, they receive a phone call from our team of cold callers, and they receive LinkedIn requests. So we're making sure we're maximizing all 3 channels. So that's the campaign blueprint. Point number 1, relevance. Like I said, all of our lead lists have been segmented by the types of clients these agencies work with, by the types of services they offer, by their state, by their city. And finally, if we have absolutely no data, we have 3 different variations that are going to non-personalized but super short, that are going to talk about different pain points. Those are just question variations. So the entire lead list of 200,000 plus agencies has been segmented into smaller subsegments based on attributes available to us. Second, a non-salesy approach. So again, this applies to you as well. Your emails, especially at this volume, you need to either be asking people open-ended questions or close-ended questions, yes or no questions, or sending them something valuable. In our case, we're going to send them case study breakdowns. And our unique advantage in this situation is that because we work with so many agencies that we're targeting so many different industries, we can send them case study breakdowns for the exact type of clients that they already work with. So there is such a good fit, and this drastically increases the odds of converting them because 1, we already know that they work with, say, roofing companies. 2, we send them a case study where we help another agency that also works with roofing companies book more calls and sign more clients. So now it becomes absolutely clear to them that we know exactly how to get them what they want, and it only becomes a question of whether the price is right or the timing is right. So that takes takes us to step 3, where we have multi-touch conversion. So like I told you before, the salesperson is going to call everybody that asks for a case study, everybody that responds with interest. They're going to call them, have a conversation, answer any questions they might have, and book appointments. And they will also receive LinkedIn requests from our team's accounts as soon as they reply with interest. So all of this is set up. And finally, pre-qualification and nurture. So whenever a salesperson talks to a prospect, we're going to qualify them for budget, for urgency, and if they fit those 2 criteria, we're going to book them in directly on the calendar. Now, here are the performance KPIs. This is, again, I hope to be able to beat these KPIs. These are just the bare minimum, but we're expecting a 1.5% reply rate. 20% of those replies need to be positive. Of the positive replies, 50% need to be converting into appointments. And of the appointments, 75% of the prospects need to attend calls, and 15 to 30% of them should end up closing. So these are the KPIs. You can screenshot this, use this for any outbound campaign you're running at scale. You should always aim to beat these KPIs. This is not unachievable. You should be able to beat these with reasonable campaigns. You should be able to beat these. Now let's dive into the actual system. So the first pillar of any outbound system is your infrastructure. The infrastructure we're setting up here is horizontally scaling. So instead of emailing prospects with your main domain, we purchase several secondary domains, set up DNS records, create 2 to 3 users on each domain. So this is a visual representation of what our infrastructure setup looks like. We purchase a bunch of domains, secondary domains. So if my website is hyperke.com, I'll purchase domains, work with hyperketeam.com, and I'm going to use those domains for outreach. Now, each domain is going to have 2 users. In this diagram, we've shown 3, but we're actually setting up 2 users per domain, each user sending out 20 emails per day. And that's it. We'll keep warmup on all the time. We'll make sure that we're not using any spam words in our copy. We will be using Spintext to enhance deliverability. And the math looks like this. So if we want to send 500,000 emails per month, that's 20,000 emails per day, which means we need around 500 domains with 2 inboxes each, because we need 1,000 inboxes sending 20 emails per day. Plus, we need to order backups. So we're going to order 500 backups just in case any of our inboxes burn, so that we can replace those inboxes. Another pro tip here, if you're ever running cold email campaigns at scale, do not run campaigns without backup inboxes, because your email inboxes, your domains will burn. You will need to swap them out for fresher inboxes, and if you don't have backups, your overall sending capacity will take a hit. So that's the infrastructure. This is what you should be setting up. We are using Google, Microsoft, and SMTP because we have the infrastructure, the enterprise grade infrastructure, to be able to use all 3 types of sending providers. If you're trying to mimic this, you are okay. You'll do just fine if you only use Google inboxes to send emails. We're going to use all 3, so we're going to have a slight edge when it comes to deliverability. But for anyone who's new to this, who's trying to set this up, just use Google. You're going to do just fine. Same thing with private servers. You don't need them. We're going to use them because we have them built out, but you don't need them. It's going to give you a slight edge, but not having them is not going to break anything. Then the next piece is the warm-up protocol. So like I said, warm-up stays on throughout. Warm-up, so our backups will warm up for 4 to 6 weeks. That's my expectation. For most of our inboxes, we'll launch campaigns after 2 weeks of warm-up. Then we will do a phased rollout. So I'll talk about our email variations. We have 64 email variations created in total. We'll do a phased rollout, but not all variations launching at the same time. But yeah, warm-up is pretty straightforward. Turn it on, leave it on. That's it. The other thing you want to be doing is also monitoring your inboxes, because your inboxes will burn. So whenever the individual reply rates on any inbox drops below 2%, and that inbox has sent over 100 emails in the last 10 days, we will swap that inbox out for a healthy inbox and let that inbox cool down for a couple of weeks. Feel free to slow this down and listen to it again. I might have spoken this. So what this does is it ensures that our overall reply rate here does not drop below 2%, because as soon as an individual inbox is below 2%, we swap it out for a fresh inbox that will again start sending to the primary and not go to spam. So that's why you need continuous deliverability monitoring. You need automations in place to be able to tell you when an inbox falls below the 2% threshold. And then you need to rotate inboxes or swap out the bad inboxes with the good ones. Finally, active management. So in continuation to this inbox rotation system, you want to be checking inbox health, replace underperforming inboxes. So at Hyperke, we have a full-time deliverability expert who's going to monitor all of this. So we don't have to worry about that. Now, the second piece, so you covered the infrastructure. Now you have the ability to send 500,000 emails per month while landing in the inbox. The second piece of the system is list building. building. So you need to be finding the right prospects, and this, I promise you, this is where all of the magic happens. Like a lot of people, when they think of cold outreach, they think it's all about the copy, it's all about fancy scripts. Your list is going to determine the amount, the degree of success that you achieve with your cold outreach campaigns. So we have a list of 220,000 prospects. This was not easy to put together, not because it's hard to scrape data. We have crawlers, we have different web crawlers that crawl web directories, that crawl forums, communities, and collect emails, collect contacts from all of those different sources. But what's even more important is segmenting that data based on campaign angles. So I'll tell you exactly what we did, and then you can, replicate that for your own use case. Most people, when they think of building lists, they'll just go to Apollo or LinkedIn or Zoom Info and extract a list, apply industry filters and extract a list. Problem with that list is there are 20 to 40% of that list is false positives. Those people should never be in your campaign because they're either not the right industry or they're not the right person. So you need to clean that list up. Then most people miss out on a large portion of the total addressable market because they only stick to Apollo and LinkedIn. So to fix all of that, crawl various directories to find more contacts. Then we segment them using Clay. So this is where AI comes in very handy. Like this is where AI is super clutch, because now you can use Clay, you can create prompts to figure out what each individual prospect, in our case agencies, what services they offer, what types of clients they specialize in working with, what are their case studies. And we can use all of this information in our email campaigns. So that's the beauty of segmentation. So all of this is done inside several Clay tables, which brings me to the third and the final piece, email validation. So after you've segmented leads, or sometimes even before, depending on how the cost works out for you, you need to be validating every email. Do not send emails before validating them for bounces. You can use any of the tools, Million Verifier, Zero Bounce, Bouncer, to validate emails, and then when you'll get catch-alls, you can validate catch-alls using Enrichly or Lead Magic. So pretty straightforward stack. Has to be done, important part of the process, but nothing complicated here. The most important piece, I'll reiterate, is using multiple data sources, not just Apollo and LinkedIn, and segmenting your list properly. This is going to determine the success of this campaign. I can promise you that. I already know. Now the third pillar, only after you've segmented your list, third pillar is copywriting and compliance. So copywriting, you create hyper-relevant messaging. Again, this is significantly easier to do now because you already know what small portions of your list are like. I'll give you a couple of examples. So we're going to run a campaign targeting agencies that have a history, that have in the past worked with doctors, surgeons, and hospitals. And we're going to tell them about one of our clients who had success. We've been working with them for 13 months. They're on average signing 1 to 2 new practices per month as clients through our campaigns. So we're going to send them this case study. And now it becomes an absolute no-brainer for any agency that wants doctors as clients. Like they are curious. They are, if I tell you that, I know someone just like you who's getting the results that you want, do you want to see how they're doing it? You would obviously say yes. So this is the power of hyper-relevant messaging. And we're doing this across different industries, across thousands of agencies. This is why I keep saying relevance drives response. People that tell you about AI-written emails and fancy AI-written copy, AI SDRs, a lot of that, at this point at least, is just ineffective. It's going to hurt your outreach. Simply focus on creating a message that's relevant to a list, because relevance always drives response way more than personalization. Now, with all of this, with all of our segments, we created a total of 64 email variations. So again, this includes 7 different angles, 7 different offers, and then within each offer and angle, we have variations where we're testing the lower impact variables, like different openers, sometimes, using people's Google ratings in their openers, sometimes using their case studies in their openers, different openers, testing different call to actions, sending a case study video, sending a written great case study breakdown, directly asking for a call, and then different body text. All of the emails, so the emails that we've written here, they, in terms of length, they vary from being 12 words long to about 110, 115 words. So that's the total spectrum of emails we're testing right now. And spend tags, all of our emails have spend tags. This becomes an absolute non-negotiable, because when you're sending 500,000 emails in a month, that's roughly 25,000 emails a day. So with that kind of volume, you simply cannot afford to send the same copy without variations. And that is why we're using spin tags in the body copy as much as possible. In our opt-out message, we're using quotes. We're spin taxing our signatures, we're spin taxing our opt-out messages, and obviously the body copy. Then can spam compliance, like I said, all emails include an opt-out message. All emails are 100% plain text, no links in the first email, no formatting, no HTML, no open tracking, all plain text. And for opt-out, we're sending people a simple message, a simple note at the end of the email asking them to reply if they don't want to receive more outreach from us. So that's all about copywriting. The fourth pillar is lead qualification and appointment setting. So what happens after we send these emails? The infrastructure, we've covered who we're reaching out to, we've covered what is it that we're sending to them. Now, what happens when people respond? So we get 4 or 5 different types of replies. Either people say they're not interested, which is fine, we take them off your list. Then, or they will say, yes, they are interested, send me a case study. Or they'll ask you for pricing, or they'll ask you for more information, or they'll ask to get on a call directly. Now, when you're building a campaign like this, you need to be creating templates for each of those situations. And the goal with all of them is to get them to book a call. Send the first response as quickly as possible and follow up with them until they book a call. Now, for a lot of agencies doing outreach, for a lot of businesses doing outreach, this is where the biggest fall off is, because you're either not reaching out to your leads quickly enough, or you're just sending them a couple of follow-up emails and then forgetting about them. And this is why ever since we added phone calls to our workflow about 1.5 years ago, and the improvement in results has been dramatic. Like, we booked twice or thrice as many calls from our positive responses these days as we used to before we started systematically including phone calls in our workflow. So anytime we get a positive response, they receive a reply over email, they receive a phone call. If they don't answer the phone call, we leave a voicemail, send an SMS, and they receive LinkedIn requests. So they see us everywhere. Like, they just cannot miss us. The only thing we're not doing is showing up at their door. Everywhere else, they're covered. That's the process behind appointment setting. No rocket science here. Talk to people like they're human beings. Don't try to overcomplicate this. Tell them why they should be getting on a call, give them a reason to get on a call, and then propose the call, ask for the call. Now, once they're booked, the next phase that you want to optimize is getting people to show up. So attendance and close rate. So you want to do 2 things. One is make sure they don't forget. So stay top of mind. 2, give them a reason to attend the call, right? So now you've convinced them to book a call, give them a reason to attend the call. Give them something at the end of the call. They should be looking forward to the call because they expect to get something out of it. This could be a plan, an audit, competitor analysis, whatever makes sense for your offer in your industry. And send them a pre-call nurture sequence with your case studies, with what to expect on the call. Get them hyped up. So if they book a call 5 days later, in the next 5 days, it is my job to make sure they don't forget about us. They are actually excited about showing up to the call, and they know exactly what to expect in those 30 minutes with my team. So this is why you want to be creating nurture sequences, and you want to have your salespeople calling and texting prospects on the day of the event to make sure they show up or they reschedule. So that's exactly what our process looks like. A nurture sequence, qualification before we book a call. I already told you about the budget and the urgency qualifications. And this is a little bit from our closing. So our closing process is prospects will either meet myself or someone from our team. We have a roster of 3 salespeople right now. And the goal of the call is understanding their goals, helping them determine, look at how all of this is phrased, right? We are trying to help the prospect on that first sales call. So we want to understand your goals. We want to help you determine the best verticals to target, because we have a ton of data from working with other agencies. We know exactly what works, and we're going to help you just replicate their success for your own markets. Then we're going to help you with ideas to either raise prices, come up with downsells, improve your offers so that it all works with cold outreach. And finally, if you meet the 3 criteria that I mentioned above, right here in the very beginning. So the same criteria apply to all of our prospects. If you have a large TAM, proven product market fit, strong social proof, we will offer to work with you. If not, we'll leave you with the ideas and the analysis that we gave you on a call for free. So that's what the whole process looks like, starting from scratch all the way to closing a prospect. Now, again, while watching this video, some of you might have thought that this is a lot of work, and why do you want to do all of this? Like, you could also send 10,000 emails with 5 email variations and still do fine. The reason we're trying to do it at this scale is because this is a quote from Alex Hormozy. He's a big fan of just pushing volume and consistency, right? Because volume negates luck. So now when it comes to sales, everybody says you need to be lucky, you need to play the numbers game, you need to get the right person at the right time. How do you eliminate this luck? You just reach out to so many people that it becomes impossible for you to not find someone at the right time, right? So that is the philosophy behind doing all of this. Now, the problem with a lot of people who try to replicate this, they send a lot of trash volume out. So I'm sure you must have all heard of stories of people who sent hundreds of thousands of cold emails, didn't get any responses, and then they said cold email is dead, it's not working for us. The problem is they go all the way from I'm gonna do this, they jump from here all the way to here. And now they're hoping for volume to negate luck. But the problem is they skipped all of these steps in between. So they don't have the right infra. They're not sending messaging that people actually want to respond to. The prospects they're reaching out to, they don't care about the offer, their message is not relevant, and then they're worried, they're not targeting multiple channels, they're not replying to prospects quickly enough, they're not following up with people who are interested frequently enough, and then they are wondering why cold email doesn't work. So volume negates luck, yes, but it needs to be done right, otherwise you're just a spammer. So that's the difference between someone methodically executing cold email campaigns and finding success versus someone just spamming their entire time and hoping for results. So that's all for this video. Now, if you want to see what the results look like, I'm going to record a follow-up to this once this campaign completes in a few weeks, and that's probably going to be towards the end of the year, considering we're already mid-November. So yeah, follow along for results. And if you're a B2B business, if you meet the 3 criteria I mentioned above, and you want 10 to 30 qualified sales calls booked on your calendar every month, completely on autopilot, and you want us to handle all of the implementation and execution, everything I spoke about in this video, go to hyperke.com/chat, book a time, let's chat, and let's figure out a solution for you. That's all for now. I'm going to see you in the next one.